From deep in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, it's the Best of the Outdoors podcast, brought to you by Texas Fish and Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas outdoor nation. I'm your humble host, Dustin Warncke, joined by Chester Moore, our editor-in-chief tonight, live, kind of, in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the SHOT Show 2019. Chester, how you doing?
I'm great, but there was already a mistake in your intro.
I knew you were going to bring this up. At the heart of Las Vegas.
There is no heart. There are bowels, but I'm not sure there's a heart here in Las Vegas.
They're nice people here still. It's just a wild,
it's just
crazy.
A system.
It's a system. It is a system. Yeah, no, for sure.
I actually like coming here because I don't do all the nightlife stuff. There's a lot of other cool stuff, but it's hard. I was like, that might be pushing a little bit.
Well, okay. So deep in the soul or the
soul.
Bowels of Las Vegas.
The soul.
That's just my opening, man. You can't take that away from me, man.
I think I just did.
You did. You did. So I guess for the next podcast for tomorrow night when I'm riding solo again, I will not say heart. Deep in the soul of Las Vegas.
There you go.
Anyway. So, all right. So day number 2 for you and 3 for me because I did range day.
You did range day, yeah.
So, what'd you see?
It was I was a lot of meetings today, but in the last 2 days, I've seen a lot of stuff that actually had kind of upgrades to it, and I saw a whole lot of attention to detail on some things that are like commonly used outdoors stuff. One of the things we were looking at is Flambeau.
Yep.
Now Flambeau has this absolutely phenomenal decoy setup. And
for turkey, I assume?
No, we're talking for ducks.
For ducks, okay,
yeah,
cool. All right, great.
It's the gunning series. I think it's the gunning series. It might be gunners. I think a gunning series.
Okay.
And I mean, like, when I say incredible, I'm talking about what was really cool about the gunning series is, they have great looking decoys, but the way they designed the bottom of them, they swim even if almost no current in the water.
Really?
The slightest breeze, the slightest movement of water,
they move.
And they move side to side and back and forth. And
really?
Yeah. So you don't have that mojo effect,
right?
The spinning decoy,
spinning the same rotation.
But it's the spread itself looks like it's actually swimming ducks.
So duck hunters listen to that. That's cool.
That was great, man, because that was something that's like, if you duck hunt, decoys are necessary.
Right.
And it was really, really super cool. And I thought that was a great innovation. And I've always kind of wondered why that there weren't decoys that were designed to move a little more than you typically see out there.
Right.
Because static decoys will definitely flare wary birds,
Right. Right.
So that's why something that's an automatic with the spinner type decoy has typically been so good, but this is a new tact, and I think it's going to be a game changer.
Cool, that's good. Let's see here. Trevor and Jeremy from the Cast Blast Grill Chill podcast all listen to this show, and I want to go duck hunting with you guys. So I'm just giving you a shout out right now that we should do that sometime in the future. I know it didn't really happen this year, but love you guys. So there's shout out.
While we're shouting out on that, okay?
Yeah.
Turkey hunts.
Yep.
Dustin and I want to go turkey hunting, and we want to go not one of these crazy. We want to go like where there's like 4 million turkeys. That are stupid turkeys.
Turkey is crazy turkey.
Yeah, they'll like walk out like suicidal turkeys. So because we can't call very well, so we need some help. So if you got turkey hunting opportunities that isn't in the Panhandle, we will go.
In the van.
Chester
will never travel in the van.
Unless it's a Merriam's, and then we will
Merriam's
go.
turkey.
Okay.
All
right. So anyway, we got our plugs out of the way.
All right.
Speaking of turkey, though, I went to a press conference of the National Wild Turkey Federation today, and they are working on an initiative with partners like Mossy Oak and others to really engage in hunter recruitment. Because they say without the turkey hunter, the turkey population is going to end up in the future going south because there won't be the money and interest behind their turkey. And I was really impressed with the dedication those turkey people have to the turkey hunting lifestyle and to the numbers of birds. And if you look, I mean, the turkey was down to about 100,000 birds in 1900. And now we're looking at several million, and 500,000 of those are in Texas. We got 500,000 Rios in Texas, and scattered Merriams, and I heard Panhandle, definitely Trans-Pecos, and a few scattered populations of Easterns, but 500,000 basically Rios in Texas.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, right?
Well, it's funny we start off with duck hunting and with turkey hunting because those are two of the hardcore groups.
Big time.
I mean, big time. As far as, depth of passion and of, getting out there and getting it done and just resilience, I guess. Fanatics almost about getting stuff out there.
Yeah, man, because I didn't grow up a duck hunter. I grew up a deer hunter.
Right.
And I got into duck hunting when I was like early part of my outdoor riding career, like 20, 21. And just fell in love with it, and really, really dug it. And I've always been fascinated with wild turkeys. I've only killed a few. I will say I did kill a 26-pound, 10-inch beard Rio down in Bracketville.
Oh, wow.
First time I hunted with Lou Murillo.
Southwest Texas area.
Yeah. The place was loaded with turkeys.
Wow.
And I was actually hunting with Keith Warren on that hunt. We were trying to kill one with the bow for his TV show. Lou Murillo, our hunting editor for Fishing Game, the first time he came down and hunted with me, killed one with his bow. I never got the shot, and at the end, like 20 minutes before the hunt had to stop, Keith Warren gets on the radio and goes, "Chester, time to get the Mossberg bow out."
The Mossberg bow. I didn't think you were going to tell this story.
Yeah,
That's
so
great,
we went and got this Mossberg out, and we went and waited because these turkeys were crossing late. They were crossing this particular road a lot, and we hadn't sat down 2 minutes, and his head, it looked like Godzilla's head. It was a huge turkey I've ever seen in my life. Sticks his head out. He's walking out to the trail, and I thought Keith said, "Shoot." He was saying, "Don't shoot," because he hadn't focused on it yet. I blasted that sucker dead, I was quite happy. But so they're very dedicated, and there was some cool stuff out there for those products. I mean, Flambeau also had some really killer decoys. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to him about they have a proprietary painting process that they do. They can't talk about a whole lot. I was trying to dig some info out, but it's like CIA, dude. And I don't blame them because they got some incredible paint jobs. Yeah. Some of the stuff looks like taxidermy. You know what I mean?
Right, serious.
And and I was just really impressed with the realistic paint jobs on their decoys.
And obviously Flambeau cases. I mean, a wide variety of different plastic products that are
amazing
hard
stuff,
cases,
man. Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But what else? Did you see anything in the bird realm while we're on the subject?
Well, I mean, no, not right off the top of my head, no.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really think what you did with the National Wild Turkey Federation, that kind of stuff, as far as the conservation efforts, that's one thing we haven't talked about in a while. Last time we did SHOT, we talked about there being more of a conservation row like there is at ICAST, right?
Yeah.
And to have a press conference for the National Wild Turkey National Wild Turkey Federation, today, I mean, I think that's a step in the right direction.
It's a step in the right direction, but it's amazing to me that ICAST has 10 times the conservation groups.
So it's about saving the fish and not necessarily the wildlife all the time.
And the wildlife side, there's just not as many represented here. I know I talked to the Wild Sheep Foundation.
Sure.
Their conference is I think this weekend. So they're tied up, so they couldn't be here because they're in Reno this weekend. And the Houston Safaris have an event this weekend, got some people tied up. But it's great to see National Wild Turkey here. I give them kudos. I think Ducks Unlimited did a press conference today regarding a fundraiser in Texas, I think at Texas Motor Speedway. Kent, by the way, I want to talk about Kent a second. They had some really cool, non-toxic shot for upland birds.
Okay, cool.
They had the steel shot, of course, for like dove and stuff like that. And of course, you have to have steel shot or you have to have non-toxic shot for waterfowl. But they also had the bismuth and stuff like that.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of innovations made in the shotgun world. That's where I was going next after we talked about birds. Is just Kent, Rio. I mean, a couple of companies that make shotgun shells that really, cool stuff. So yeah, overall that's good. Chester and I both met with Silencer Shop today. You met a gal over there. I met the marketing manager, and just kind of a new regime over there, but really some good stuff with what they're doing with making silencer ownership very. I always say silencership when they're a podcast sponsor. I say silencership. That's not even a word. But silencer ownership really easy. Educating the public, that kind of stuff.
I hadn't seen the kiosk, and Jennifer over there, who was really awesome. She showed me the kiosk and talked about the process of their taking care of all the details once you get kind of signed up for that,
Right.
And I thought that was super cool because getting a silencer or suppressor can be intimidating for someone.
It can.
And so
they
that
kind of
really
take
cool.
the guesswork out of it, I guess, if you will. And I've talked about that ad nauseum on this podcast when they sponsored it, about, just keeping silencer ownership. You're never going to get past the ATF, obviously, but they try to take the guesswork out of it and make it as easy as it possibly can be to own a silencer. And you can own a silencer for your handgun, you can own one for your shotgun, you can own one for your rifle. I mean, there's a lot of different, uses. You can get integrally suppressed silencers, you can get, the screw-on cans, or the quick detach cans and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do there, but I was kind of impressed. That kiosk thing really is kind of upping the game on making it easier to own them, in other words.
Yeah, for sure.
What else, Chester?
Man, there's a lot of stuff here in terms of security and safety and things like that.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with Guard Dog. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of neat stuff.
Yeah, I've seen their booth before.
Yeah, they had a lot of cool stuff like, anti-bear spray and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think
but they got bulletproof backpacks.
Oh, cool.
And they were like school kind of bulletproof backpacks too.
Huh.
And sadly, that may be an investment we have to make at some point, because, it's something like that. I mean, it's come to that, it really has, and it's come to that out there. So I thought that was great, and a lot of stuff on personal safety, and talk about the beacon that those guys
Global Star.
Yeah, man.
I talked about them last night, but if you are going offshore, I talked about this on the last night's podcast. If you were going offshore, if you were going deep in the woods, I mean, you don't really hear stories of guys that are found with one of those that don't make it out, because usually they're saved. You know?
And I'm actually going to be buying one of these in the next week.
Sweet.
I pretty much now have to go alone.
Right.
I really don't have anybody to go with me in some of the woods.
We live, 5 hours away from each other?
Yeah, that's about it. I can't call Dustin to show up.
Come on.
And most of my friends are sissies.
Get in the truck.
Most of them are sissies. They don't want to go in the woods. And so I really do need a beacon, and it's a great effort. And in Texas, because of really along a lot of the Gulf Coast, but particularly Texas, because it's shallower water in most of the coast, especially the upper coast. If you want to go catch red snapper, last year we had a fairly long season, but most of the time it's like a week.
Yep.
And so what's happened is people are pushing further to go catch tuna, wahoo,
right.
Links, stuff like that. And so, you're going 80 miles out, guys that were formerly going 30 and 40 miles out. And that's a whole different realm of trouble you can get into. So you have a beacon or something like that, it could really save your neck.
No, that's good. And I mean, the line of products they have a subscription that you basically pay, but I mean, to buy something like the beacon or the satellite phone, or whatever I talked about last night, their main offerings, also going to be an academy pretty soon, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It's an investment in your future. I mean, it's an investment in your life. I mean, it's hard. It's kind of serious to talk about in a fun podcast like this, but it's serious,
Well, that's one of the things about a lot of these safety products is, no one wants to talk about. I mean, the tactical side and all those guys will talk about, like home intrusions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I give them kudos for that. But in the hunting side, no one wants to talk about freaking maniacs, deliverance people, meth dealers,
right,
and all those things that you can run into.
The wackadoodles, like my wife says.
Yeah, they're just. And I've ran into 2 different meth labs in my years of being out in the woods and on the water. And thank God I was far enough out seeing them. I didn't have to make eye contact with anyone and got the heck out of Dodge. And I got chased off a mountain in Northern California. I'm sure it was by drug pushers. Me and my dad in 2002. And I've had some run-ins with some crazy stuff. And so being able to have some of these extra safety devices and stuff like that and being self-aware of what's going on, I think is great. And I think we need to talk about it more on the hunting and fishing side.
Yeah.
Because if you're fishing the lower Texas coast, there's literally piracy and stuff that happens sometimes.
Yep.
There are illegal Mexican fishing boats that come in to run long lines, and if they think maybe I don't know if someone's going to hurt them, or turn them in, you can find yourself in some trouble. So I think it's wise to have all the precautions, and and there are some guns here that if you just showed some of these weapons to people, like the full auto shotguns and stuff, man.
Yep.
It's like that would scare away Godzilla if he's peeking in your window.
Yeah.
Because
they could take out. With double-aught buckshot and that many rounds going down range at once. I mean, holy smokes!
Yeah, it's pretty. And
Ellerman got to shoot one of those at range day, and the mag dump took like 1.5 seconds. And it was like 30 rounds. I mean, it was just sick.
That's
like it's like a minigun. It was ridiculous.
I hate to admit it. I've had moments where I needed like that many rounds for one duck. I think I'm missing
Chester. That's not what they're for.
No, but I was thinking waterfowl. You know.
Oh, waterfowl.
Look,
okay.
think about this: geese.
Okay.
The problem is it's federally regulated, and you have to have a plug in your gun.
Right.
So the 30-round burst would not work. I mean, that's messed up. But man, it would help eliminate some snow geese.
Yeah, it's good. That's good. That's real good. Barska was one of the scope companies that I saw. They're coming out with the night vision scope this year. They are wide variety of binoculars for hunting and fishing. That's the angle I talked to them about in our meeting, because a lot of people use the binoculars and they make kind of budget style optics, for looking for birds, for fish, and that kind of stuff. You're striper fishing or white bass fishing, watching the birds dive down. You need a good set of glass to, binoculars to do that. And they also are into safes. That's something that was kind of new. The security, the home security kind of thing was securing your firearms and that kind of stuff. And being that they're built, they're all that stuff is, all their manufacturing and all that other stuff. Well, not manufacturing, but all their retailing stuff comes out of California. They're pretty forward thinking for stuff coming out of California. Just saying. So.
Yeah, typically that's backwards.
That's where I was going with that, Chester. Yeah. One thing I noticed today, I had a meeting with MGM Targets. They make one of the coolest systems for your own personal range. So let's say you're going out to your friend's family farm or whatever. You just need 6 2x4s, all right? Actually, 5 2x4s, all right? They basically get in these braces and you make an A-frame. And then you connect a target every so often. There's 5 different targets, 5 different plates, okay? It is called a plate rack and a bucket. Literally, it's $300 shipped to your door. It is a bucket that has, like, shooting steel, the steel targets that you hang up and you shoot off of 2x4s.
Wow.
If the 2x4s get damaged, you just replace the 2x4s. Go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, no big deal. The targets that he uses are absolutely amazing. He had something like 60,000 rounds on one of his silhouette targets. Okay, MGM Targets, silhouette targets, metal, steel targets basically. Yeah. 60,000 rounds, minigun. He threw minigun at
Who has a minigun?
I know. He said they probably blew through like $100,000 worth of ammunition.
Wow.
And just to test the quality of their steel targets, and they have all kinds of different, testing targets, like a 1.5 second reaction on a self-defense scenario. They have this target that they spring load and it comes at you real fast and you have to be able to turn around and shoot. Mm-hmm. It's just really cool. They have like 300 SKUs of products, and it's just like, and what has the shooting community not thought of? But I mean, especially for your own private range, if you don't have a gun range in your area, or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, that the plate rack and a bucket is really for $300, man. I mean, you could shoot those things till the cows come home.
I'll tell you what, I was impressed at Nosler today. They have a carbon rifle.
Yeah, you're telling me about that.
Yeah, the Nosler carbon. I think it's called the Model 48.
Okay.
Something like that. And let me look it up here. Yeah, Model 48. It's a long-range carbon rifle. And this thing weighs like 6 pounds. It's really, really light, and it's one of those guns that's for, that guy that's going to go out in the middle of nowhere and doesn't want to, wear himself out getting out in the field,
Because really, I mean, when you've got to look at weight when you're going to be packing all that stuff with you, right?
And a pound or two can make a difference.
Yeah, it can, for sure.
And anyway, I was really impressed with that thing, and to think about, especially those guys. Let's say you're going up to Colorado.
Yep.
You're going out in that public land and you're trying to get way back where nobody hardly gets for those elk.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to make it be a difference maker. And, of course, Nosler makes incredible stuff. So
yeah.
I was pretty impressed by that.
Yeah, the Nosler, the whole legacy that they have is just the hunting performance. I mean, that's what it's all based around, is performance and how your rounds perform downrange, how their guns perform and everything like that. And they have kind of higher end guns, I guess you could say. I mean,
these are like the $3,000 guns.
Right. So I mean, you're going to be paying a little bit more, but I mean, you get a good, really high quality product at a lightweight weight.
Synthetic,
synthetic stock, yeah, that kind of
stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I'm looking at the Model 48 long range.
Okay. What does it shoot?
7 pounds.
What caliber does it shoot?
And I don't have all of the I had it written down. I don't have it with me.
Well, dang it,
but it shoots. All right, here we go. Offerings, right? 6.5 Creedmoor.
Right.
26 Nosler, 28 Nosler.
I told you Nosler had their own rounds.
There you go. 300 Win Mag, 30 Nosler, and a 33 Nosler.
I didn't realize Nosler had that many calibers.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's pretty cool.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And obviously, you know, I talked about on the podcast that I did with Dustin Element, Winchester came out with the 350 Legend, you know, which is going to make a whole new category of cans, you know, to suppress it and all this other stuff. But the idea is everybody's trying to improve what exists out there, and that's the innovations of the industry, which is good. But overall, it's just kind of like, how does it get any better than what it already is, you know, with long-range shooting and with, you know, scopes and with, you know.
I was talking to someone today, and they were talking about, well, this will hit out to 1,000 yards, which is incredible that there's machinery like that. And, you know, now we have the right optics and all the things to appropriately do that in the targeting. But I couldn't hit Walmart at 1,000 yards. You know, I'm being real. You know,
Chester's range is what, you know,
150.
150.
It's a good shot's 150. You got to realize I bow hunted a lot of my life. Hunted thickets in East Texas, and I like to waterfowl hunt. So 150 yards is like.
It's reaching out there and touching them.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
That's crazy.
My dad was a really good long range shooter, and he always shot stuff across canyons I had to go retrieve, you know. So I'm like, I'm going to shoot it within 50 yards.
Yeah, that's right, so we don't have to drag it as far, right? All right, something else. I stopped by Lanksky's booth. Lanksy makes sharpeners. I was showing Chester the sell sheet that they gave me for the mini lockback knife bowl. I'm literally saying it's a bowl, like a goldfish bowl kind of, okay? But it's full of mini knives, all right? And I don't mean M-A-N-Y. I mean M-I-N. Yeah, Manny. Anyway. All right, sorry.
I'm the editor.
It's like, I know. Yeah, Chester's going to edit this podcast now. But several knives, all right? I think they come like 24 knives, and the MSRP for the knives is $4. Dude, you could buy a whole bowl of knives and give them away as stocking stuffers.
Yeah.
For birthdays, for anniversaries, for Christmas. I mean, anyway, I thought that was cool. And the other thing is the C-Sharp. It is the Quad Sharp, which I've reviewed on this podcast, and I've reviewed the Quad Sharp on the fishgame.com as well. Quad Sharp is basically all these different angles on one little sharpener. This is all ceramic pull through quad angle sharpener. MSRP is under $20, and it's all ceramic, so you know you don't have to deal with any carbide, and you've got a ceramic finishing edge on it too. And it's a neat little thing. It fits in your pocket for under $20, and it's a sharpener, and you can fine hone an edge with ceramics. So there you go.
Man, you know. You think about all the things we talked about here in just a few minutes, and there's just a lot to see.
There is.
And there's a lot to cover, but we're trying to get you just a variety of information out there in the fish game universe, and it's great. It's an honor and privilege to get to represent Texas Fish and Game and our owners, Roy and Argan Eves, and be here to get to do this and could come back and share the information with you. I mean, it's a great privilege for me to be on the Best of the Outdoors podcast. It's always fun to be on here. You know, one of the things that people would need to really see to believe is the displays here.
Oh, they're huge.
I mean, they're
Best
like
Outdoors alone, Smith & Wesson. I mean, they're freaking humongous.
Like city block size.
Yeah.
Some stuff.
You know, for sure.
It's insanity.
And tall too. I mean, not just wide, just tall.
I'm thinking, you'll see companies, and the next year they'll have this to get attention. You know, they really want to make stand out.
Right.
And I'm thinking, what would I do to stand out here at the SHOT Show? And I would probably go the funny direction to stand out. You know.
You're standing out right now. You got a sport coat and camo jeans.
That's my style, baby.
And your zebra bandana.
That's me.
Awesome,
I'm a natural standout. I'm a maverick, baby. I'm a pariah.
I love it.
I'm gonna stand out no matter where it's at, because that's who I am. Because I'm Chester Moore, the wildlife journalist. That's the way it goes. But other than that, what I would probably do is have like a full body Angus bull mounted. I would. And then I would have...
Not a Angus, but an Angus.
It got to be an Angus. Because the only good meat in the world is certified Angus beef, according to the beef industry.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, and you talk about, the poor man's Big Five, you could shoot one of those certified Angus bulls. And then I would have like some domestic turkey mounts, the big butterball white boogers.
We were talking about this on the bus right over.
Yeah, man. And then like one of those like bronze looking turkeys. And then and I think everybody would come over and say, "What you doing?" So we're trying to introduce the poor guy's side of hunting here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the working man's side.
The working man's side. No, I was just kind of, we were joking about that because I'm thinking, what else could you do to impress people? It's so crazy the stuff they have here.
Yeah, seriously, it is.
And there's like full body mule deer down there and bears and there's like mini guns and like, rocket launchers. So,
I saw a Gatling gun here one year. I don't know if they have it this year or not.
An actual Gatling gun?
An actual Gatling gun, like cool. A collector's piece.
That would be awesome.
I think it was like a replica. A replica, sure, right. But it was like, you could go up and turn it and it would just...
Dude, look, man, I'm not a gun.
It's the year I met you, I saw that.
I am not like a huge gun guy. I love guns, got a bunch of guns. But I'm not like a guy like collects guns and all that, historical pieces or anything. But, man, to go crank on an actual Gatling gun would be pretty dang sweet,
Yeah.
Would be pretty dang sweet.
Well, and that's the thing about it is that was the year I met you, 2013, that I saw that. And I was like, that is pretty darn cool because it was like something that you just, just there. I mean, it was just like everybody was going around and oohing and on it. Like at range day, the minigun. Everybody was oohing and on that thing because they had one on display and one in the back of the truck they were actually firing.
Yep.
Belt fed. I mean, seriously, like, I don't know how many thousands of rounds of ammunition they went through, but that was... Anyway, so sorry.
It's crazy.
People say I'm easily impressed, but I am sometimes.
Well, here's the deal, though. I mean, you like what you like, and if people don't like it, who cares?
Right.
I've never been someone to be like measure, test the wind. Yep. And we're going to go, well, this might offend this moron behind a keyboard who's never actually been outdoors. No, we don't care.
Tactical or the Molon Lame, as you like to say in the last podcast we did together.
My column this month in the January issue is called "You Can't Get a Purple Heart for Paintball."
Yeah, they finally wrote it. I knew it was coming.
I had to hit it. It's just the guys that have, and I never was in the military, but I don't act like I was. And,
exactly.
And I get upset when I see people who act a lot more Navy SEAL than real Navy SEAls, Right. And the closest they get to be a Navy SEAL is being on the high school swim team. I mean, I don't dig that, But I didn't see, we didn't see so much of that here.
No.
I see more of that at the gun range,
or at NRA shows.
I don't.
You never go to NRA. I'm just saying I see that at NRA.
But what I do, what's kind of cool though, is I think we're getting a little more grounded now.
Yeah.
And people are kind of getting back to the basics of firearm and defense and hunting and that kind of stuff. But it's you kind of got me on something here, and it's kind of stuck on my craw. Oh God, there's a rant coming. Is it just
coming,
more
baby.
rants?
It's coming, baby.
They got to come out, or I'll go crazy and can't sleep tonight.
That's right.
So you mentioned about people say you're easily impressed. Well, that's great because these people who are so discriminating that everything has to fit their perfect little idea of whatever. Right. And then they're going to fire off the message on social media about whatever, because I'll tell you what, there's an entire class of really brain-dead people who don't even read the entire headline.
Right.
They read a word in the headline. I've had to correct people like, I can't believe you said blah, 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 blah. Read the whole headline. They picked out one word.
Yeah, fishgame.com and Facebook are good examples of that with our material. Right?
Yeah, we got great stuff. It's always some little ninny somewhere. It's always
ninny.
They're always like, that's a Ted Nugent word he used. But
that was Wonderware.
But it's like I love that one. So I expect that being like the dumbest person in the world. A ninny, whatever that means. But somebody will probably send us a message and tell us. But it's people shouldn't apologize for what we have to apologize for what they're into.
Right.
And it happens so much. It'll be like, well, you don't know about the Lapua, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, because I don't really care. That's not my thing.
You don't have to care.
You don't have to. That's why we have Dustin Ellerman.
Right.
That's what he's into.
Cares.
That's why we have Steve Lamascus. That's why he's into.
Right.
I don't know the intricacies of the white bass spawn. I know when they spawn. I know where they spawn. But Matt Williams, our freshwater guy, can tell you.
We have a guy
now, if you want to talk wildlife, you want to talk hogs and waterfowl and turkey and all that stuff, come on, let's go. I can go with the best of them. But what happens is, I think that that people really like to just nitpick everyone.
Yep.
And if we want to grow hunting and fishing, the nitpickers have got to go. They've got to stop slamming people because they didn't shoot this right size buck. I had somebody tell me one time they got really brutally slammed on their deer lease, and they were a younger person because they shot a buck they said was legal, but they said it was too young, it wasn't old enough, but one more year it could have bred. Not if it walked out in front of me, okay?
Right.
Yep. And it's like, it was just the dumbest. That mentality is so small,
right?
And it's just got to go. and we got to let people appreciate what they appreciate. If a guy is a bow hunter and he likes to use a 10-year-old bow that still has good working parts, good for him. He got his money's worth.
Right.
But then he'll go somewhere and they'll tell him it doesn't work unless it's the one that we sell this year.
Right.
And we get the best deal on at the shop, That kind of stuff. That's got to go. And so for those of you listening, because I know most of the people who listen to this podcast, read fishgame.com, Texas Fish and Game, are people who just love to go enjoy the great outdoors.
Right.
Don't apologize. Don't put up with the idiots who are trying to tell you that what you like isn't as good as what they like.
Yep.
And because there's people who are just a bunch of losers. And I never have lost an ounce of just a wink of sleep over those people. And I won't, because I work with young people so much, and I hate when I see people putting people down. This should be fun.
Yes.
This should be
really
the whole thing should be fun.
It should.
And people who come out and they're like, well, you don't know enough about this, and this, and this. And I'm like, well, you don't know enough about, life to be talking to me right now.
Right.
That's kind of the way I look at some of that stuff.
Well, it's like, what do we have? The trout snobs, we have the bow hunters, then we have the, and I'm not saying I'm a bow hunter, Chester's a bow hunter, but I'm just saying.
For the record, he said that.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Trout snobs, bow hunters, and horse traders. We talked about that one last night. So anyway.
There's different subgroups of people.
Yeah.
Because everybody's a subgroup now on social media because they have a page dedicated to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so everybody's got their little thing, and they're little fiefdoms. They all want to be little kings over this stuff.
Well, yeah.
And we want to be people who bring people together.
We do. We unite people. And that's what I wrote about in my Lone Star Bowhunters Association column that will get published eventually. I'm still working with the publisher on that deal. But I talked about that on the podcast a few podcasts ago, basically about, can't we all get along? Don't, because I'm a bow hunter, Chester is too. I mean, don't call somebody that has a compound bow, a bow with training wheels. Don't call somebody that has a recurve bow, stick and string. I mean, just... Can't we all just get along? I mean, I've said that on the show for years.
If you measure, and this is serious, if you measure the quality of your humanness by the type of bow that you use, you are pathetic. You're pathetic. I have no respect for that. As long as it's ethical, you can kill what you're shooting at, and you're proficient at it. I don't care what kind of bow or what kind of fishing rod you use or what kind of gun you use.
Whatever, yeah.
My dad used to get fired up about that. God rest his soul, man. And I remember somebody told him one time, he's like, well, you ought to be killing with the bow. And my dad looked at him and said, can you shoot that bow and kill a deer at 250 yards? He goes, no. He goes, well, I rest my case.
That's right. I'm done.
I'm
done. That's
But
funny.
There's that entire mentality that plagues the sporting industry.
There is.
And people are afraid to say anything because they don't want to upset the good old boy syndicate.
Right.
My existence in this business upsets the good old boy syndicate.
Yeah.
So I'm proud to be doing it for 26 years.
Long-haired, beard, mustache.
The whole thing.
Anti-establishment is what I call you sometimes.
I just am what I am.
I know, but you're your own Chester Moore. I mean, like I said, that's kind of like Top Shot Dustin or, any of these.
I want to be what I am, and I want everyone else to enjoy themselves,
Sure.
People can probably say a lot about me, but they can't say I'm an ass.
No.
And they can't say that I'm wanting to hold other people back, because I want to lift people up. And I think I'm seeing a little bit more of that happen this year in the hunting side of things.
Yeah, I think
a little more positive trajectory going on, which is great, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And this show is a classic example of why we still have the right to keep and bear arms.
Right.
Because these people are organized.
Yeah.
Like, they're very
serious.
I was sitting there listening to some lobbyists today. I was in a press conference, some lobbyists behind me talking about some hunting legislation.
Yep.
And it was crazy. And I was like, man, I know how to lobby people now. It was like,
right.
But there's lobbyists they hire. I mean, this stuff is organized. This is what makes it all work.
You know how much lobbyists get paid? It's ridiculous.
Way more than wildlife journalists.
My father-in-law's got a friend that it's ridiculous. So anyway, but yeah.
I couldn't stomach it.
I know, man. It just,
I don't suck up to people really well, so I'd be the worst lobbyist ever.
Yeah, I'm not sucking up to you, dude.
Yeah, I'd be like, look, man, look. I could do it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's it.
Let me tell a funny story, because now we're in the entertainment, getting loopy because we're tired thing.
Yeah.
So I went to this, I got invited by let me see if I can say this with protecting the guilty, group of people who deal with water municipalities one time.
Yep.
About water transfer. And they invited me and a couple of local outdoor writers to go meet with them at dinner and talk about water transfer.
Right.
Now, they're the ones who profit off selling the water, the entity, but they were acting like they weren't. So I listened, didn't say a lot. Then they had a big meeting with their board and invited the media, the other writers who were there to come talk, and they asked us all to say something.
Oh Lord! Here we go.
And I was when I was a lot more Darth Vader than Anakin Skywalker back then. This is in my dark era.
That's a good way to put it in the Star Wars terms.
It's true. I was very. This isn't quite wiping out the younglings, but this is definitely very Episode 4 Darth Vader. And I looked at him and said, just in general, I don't trust you people because you're the ones selling the water. So why would I believe anything you're going to tell me about the water? And
that's true.
And you could have heard a pin drop in the room. And it's just one of those situations where sometimes you just got to question things.
Yeah.
My theory is that I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the world. I just think that most entities aren't that smart. And if we don't ask the questions, then we're going to let people who don't have much more of a brain than us fool us and run us around.
Right.
So I think everyone has that potential to just see what's going on. And as a journalist, to me, that's our gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my rant's over, and I apologize.
That's a good rant.
It's a rant. Rants have to happen.
I mean, I think there's a lot of credence of what you just said, and I mean, I think but I agree with you that this show, there's been more of a, I don't want to say unifier or unity, but it's been basically more of a, reaching across the aisle. I don't want to say bipartisan like politics, but it's just kind of like people that are bow hunters can get along a little bit. Like for instance, the one we saw at Crossman today, air guns, Raven crossbows, and centerpoint crossbows.
Sure.
Two different, varieties of crossbows, two different price points. All kind of working together. Air guns and crossbows. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
Airbows. And airbows, yeah. And then there's Laser Max, and so there's that kind of stuff. But the thing that really, gets me is that all these companies are buying up other companies, and they're competing in the marketplace is flat in a lot of cases sales wise, and it's just been it's and I'm getting loopy because I'm tired, Tristan, so forgive me.
I rant and you just kind of go on.
Just gotta go on. It's
okay. We got our style.
But no, what I'm trying to say here is that that definitely, I mean, the competition is fierce in this industry, and the nice thing that you and I as media, and then you, the listener, as consumer, gets is that we end up getting the best of both worlds in a lot of ways, because we get the higher quality products because all the garbage has been weeded out in a lot of ways.
Really, there's not a lot of crap here.
That's true. I mean, that's where I was going initially with that point. I'm sorry, Chester.
Leave it to me to condense it.
Thanks, dude.
I never condense my stuff. I condense everybody else.
I never condense your stuff either, but you do a good job condensing mine. That's where I was going with that. Sorry.
We're in trouble.
A long week.
But that's really true, because you don't see a lot of faulty stuff out there.
No, it's really all high quality. And like I said, I've said it many times before, we're in the golden age, but it's true. One of the first articles that I wrote for Mag and Prowler when I met you, Chester, in 2013, before that, was called The Golden Age of Shotguns. And it was just about how you've got turkey guns, you've got duck guns, you've got dove guns, you've got skeet guns, you got trap guns, you got all kinds of different guns, and it's just there's just a wide variety of different things to offer for anybody that wants to do just about anything in the outdoors anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I'm listening to this.
That's all you said.
I hear you.
Amen, brother. Keep going. No.
Preach.
So, anyway, I don't want to keep you much longer. We're both tired. Final thoughts on SHOT Show and what you saw today and yesterday.
Final thoughts are that I'm seeing more of a unity thing going on.
Yeah, that's where I was going too.
Yeah, and I definitely am seeing that competition you're talking about. You framed that very well.
Thank you.
Going into a lot of products, and I think it's definitely golden age for gun lovers for sure. But I think we're going to start seeing in the decoys and the calls and some of those things. I think we're going to start seeing some really amazing, game-changing stuff. I didn't get to stop today, but I'm going to go in the morning and I'll fire Dustin the message where check it out for tomorrow night's podcast. I'm leaving. There is a product that reduces your electrical field showing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I think is very interesting.
Electrical field.
Because we do have electricity in our bodies.
Sure we do.
You know, you
We're
can see
made up of
it's a camo, it's a product. So I'm going to go by and check it out.
Is it the hex, whatever?
We'll check it out in the morning. I'm getting some details on it, but it was
I've heard of this.
It was really interesting. So
cool.
That kind of stuff's coming, and I think that's got a lot of potential for the really serious outdoors guy.
Well, and my point, back to the sales are flat, a lot of competition, that kind of stuff. I say that simply to say this. It is more competition for you, the outdoorsman, our listener, and you and me, Chester, our media attentions, dollars, and you know, because if it's flat, if it's not growing, and we want the sport to grow, they're going to be competing even harder to get your eyeballs on their stuff. And really, this whole industry is based around selling stuff and having media come in and talk about their stuff so they can sell stuff, and then having distributors come in and buy their stuff. So the whole show is like based around sales in a lot of ways, you know, as crazy as that is. Because that sounds like more business than it is outdoorsy, but that's just the way it works. But I mean, it's just wild, man. And humongous. I mean, 60-something thousand people. And I mean, the 5th largest show, I was reading this in the press room today, 5th largest show in the world.
Really?
Well, at least in the nation altogether.
That's amazing. And I don't doubt it.
5th largest show in the nation, yeah.
I certainly don't doubt it.
I'm sure they have big shows in China because there's 1.3 billion people in China alone. So, anyway.
There's, wow. Okay, this has gone south.
I'm sorry, I better cut it off. So, anyway.
And neither one of us are drinking.
So. No. This is all straight. We're just drinking water.
That's the scary thing, is I don't drink or do drugs. If I did, it would be truly terrifying.
We're just loopy because we're tired.
That's it. We had to cover the 5th biggest show in the world. Come on, man.
That's right. Man. No, that's cool. So thank you guys so much for watching, reading, and listening. I will be back hopefully tomorrow with another podcast, and have an awesome day in the outdoors. We'll see you next time.